Chapter 8, Lesson 6, we are going to continue graphing quadratic functions. Go ahead and pause here and put down all these notes. Go ahead and pause here and put down these notes. Okay, for the first example here, we have f of x equals x squared plus 2x minus 3. So the first thing that we're going to start with is find the vertex, or the axis of symmetry. So to find the axis of symmetry, we're going to find the equation of the line. And remember, we talked about yesterday in the last lesson that the equation of the line is a vertical line. So it's going to be x equals a number. And so we're going to find out it is x equals the opposite of b. So in this case, a is 1, b is 2, c is negative 3. So the opposite of b over 2 times a, which would give us negative 1. So that's going to start our graph of this quadratic. So we're going to go over to negative 1 on the x-axis and draw the axis of symmetry. Now, we know that the vertex has to land somewhere on that axis of symmetry, and we talked about in the last lesson how the vertex and the axis of symmetry have the same x-coordinate. So we know that the vertex will be found when x is negative 1. So now we're going to substitute that into our equation. So we're doing negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 3, which gives me 1 minus 2 minus 3, which is negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's our vertex. Now, the next part of it is going to be, does the graph open up or down? And looking at the fact that this is a positive x squared, I know that it won't be a flipped graph. So I know that my vertex will open up. I also need to find, are we doing the y-intercept? Nope, we're just going to do the x-intercepts. Okay. So for the x-intercepts, I'm going to do this one by factoring. So start with x and x, things that multiply to be 3 and subtract to be 2, 3 and 1. Sign chart says the bigger one gets a plus. Then what makes this one 0 is positive 1, and what makes this one 0, negative 3. Positive 1, negative 3. There we go. Okay, on number 2, starting with the axis of symmetry. And so I'm going to do x equals, here a is negative 1, b is 4, c is negative 4. So the opposite of b over 2 times a would give me 2. Then putting that back into the equation, so I would have negative times 2 squared plus 4 times 2 minus 4 is negative 4 plus 8 is 4 minus 4 is 0. Then knowing that it starts as a negative x squared, I know that this parabola will open down. And I'm going to solve it using the quadratic formula. So opposite of b plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. 16. I got 0. Oh, I would have known that. This is obviously the vertex sitting here on the line. That's obviously the x-intercept. So I need to find another point. I'm going to actually solve for the y-intercept here. So if I want to find the y-intercept, I'm going to let x be 0. So that would give me 0 squared plus 4 times 0 minus 4, which would give me negative 4. like that. And again, I couldn't do the x-intercepts because it was sitting on the x-axis. So I already knew what the one x-intercept was. So if this one is down here at -4 and it's 2 coordinates away from the line, I'm going to go 2 coordinates on this side since the axis of symmetry is a mirror line. Oops. And we knew it was supposed to open down. Okay, on the next one, I have x squared minus 1. So for my a term is 1. There is no b term because there's no bx. And my c term is -1. So for my axis of symmetry, if I do opposite of b over 2 times a, that would give me 0. Then putting that back in for the vertex, I'm going to do 0 squared minus 1, which is -1. I know that it's going to open up because it's a positive x squared. And this one to solve, I would just add 1 and take the square root, which is plus or minus 1. So +1 and -1. And the last one. For the axis of symmetry, I know that A is 2, B is -1, C is -3. Opposite of B over 2 times A is 1/4. So if this is 1, 1/4 would be like right here if I zoom in my graph. So then for part 2, for the vertex, for 1/4, I'm going to take 2 times 1/4 squared minus 1/4 minus 3. I just have my phone calculator, so hopefully I can do this right. Minus 1/4 minus 3. I have -3.125, and I don't have my graphing calculator, so I can't change that into a fraction. So I'll just leave it like that for now. So I have -123.125. For my x-intercepts, I'm going to do, I'll do quadratic formula. So opposite of b plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4 times a times c, all over 2a. 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times -3 is 25. And the square root of 25 is 5. So 1 plus 5 divided by 4 is 1.5. And 1 minus 5 divided by 4 is -1. And there's the parabola.